I call this our royal court. You're the queen, and you've got this royal court. Now, like you said, you're always in your mind, which means you're always hanging out with the smartass. That's the smartass that works for the queen. That's your mind. And in your case, yes, your mind is very active. But your mind the smartass needs to interview your feelings and needs to interview your heart. Hello, my friend, and welcome to another fabulous week in 2017. Well, this week I coined In Between Dimensions. We are moving forward now with whatever your choice was in the full moon last week, and we're moving into the beginning of Aquarius. I also hear we're getting a new president this week. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a spiritual way to start your day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer and friend to the world. Welcome, my friend, and Namaste. Well, this week I coined the week of being in between dimensions. You're going to be tested heavily on the decisions you made in the last 2 weeks, and I know it's difficult to come to those conclusions. And depending on how you're tested, depending on whether or not you stay the course, will determine on whether or not you go through what I call a dimensional shift, where you feel your life absolutely swing around you and change. And that will happen as the sun moves into Aquarius later in the week. Now, Aquarius is I belong energy, this concept of law of attraction. In today's tea time, I'm going to talk about how I belong works and how it builds up in step astrology. But first, let's take a look at your personal Moodcast and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Monday, January 16th to Friday, January 20th. Looking at your 5-day Moodcast, it looks like everything builds in intensity up until Friday, where it drops like a brick in a pond. The sun will move into Aquarius on Friday, and the energy will totally collapse. So on Monday, it's sunny and serious. You're going to be making your final commitments on Monday. On Tuesday, it's cloudy with a chance of temper tantrums as ego gets in the way and you might have a little emotional breakdown. On Wednesday, we're sunny and manifesting as if nothing happened at all and we're feeling really good and we're on our way. Then Thursday, sunny and super anxious as you probably question everything. So it's back and forth, back and forth. Then Friday, it's cloudy and private as we move into Aquarius and the I belong consciousness. So this week is a final test, and we will likely make a dimensional shift. In today's tea time, I'm going to talk about just how to build up that consciousness of knowing where you belong. But first, let's take a sneak peek at the upcoming week. Taking a sneak peek at the upcoming week, it looks like it's going to be a strange and emotional dimensional shift. In fact, we're in between dimensions. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being in between a destination. I don't like being at the train station. I like being at the destination or being where I'm coming from. That in between I'm not crazy about. And this week is especially emotional, very passionate, because I believe that people are making changes in their lives that really are the first time in their life, or for the first time in many, many years. So it's a big deal to people. Now on Monday, you're going to be super serious. You're going to want to make a dedication. You're going to want to commit to where you're going, and something in life may make you sign on the dotted line. Then on Tuesday, it's temper tantrums. You're going to worry. You're going to freak out. You're going to be, uncertain. And then the next day, it's great again. You're going to feel just fine, like you're still. And then the next day, you're going to question again. So this is kind of a bipolar week that goes up and down and up and down. What's the common thread to this whole week? Let me just say, you got to be self-compassionate and self-nurturing. Truly, you just got to stay calm and carry on whenever you're in this sort of transition. And really, it's about you feeling good. It's not about you getting what you want. A lot of people think, I've got to get what I want to feel good. No, you can feel good as you're waiting to get what you want. And I think that's the secret to surviving this week. Staying in touch with your feelings. In fact, self-compassion and self-mercy are huge. If you can carry on with your decision, if you can move to the next step, follow through with what you're committing to, and be calm and with yourself the entire time, I believe you are either attuning to your fate or you are rising above your fate, depending on where your stories are. But you are transitioning into the dimension of which you belong. Now let's talk about that, belonging. On Friday we have 0 degree Aquarius beginning, and in this Aquarius season it's going to be a lot more intense than we usually experience. Aquarius is usually in our head, we're kind of like, it's all dreamy, it's the high picture, the big vision. It's us coming up with our big vision in life, and most of the time we're always coming up with something greater, but we're never really committing to a vision because you never know. It's the future. You can always change it. I believe that starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll just put that out there, Sunday is really emotional. People are really having to come to terms with where they belong or where they don't belong. And you may or may not have the self-compassion and the emotional resources to get you through that. So it's kind of like accepting the truth. And for people who are clueless and disconnected from the truth, that process of accepting could be more intense than the other person. So kind of a warning alert, this year we take a big step up. And I think we take a big step up because I think this year in Capricorn, and at the end of this, what we were being tested on in the beginning of the week, we really were putting our foot down and making some dramatic changes. Now, the change carries through. Now, in Aquarius, you end up seeing where you end up as a result of that decision. And so it's sometimes emotional because it's not always what we were aiming for. So this week, it is all about really being there with yourself. Ask your heart and try not to abandon things. I think a lot of people will bow out and abandon marriages, abandon business things because they're not ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay. You should know that that's totally fine. All you're doing is procrastinating the inevitable. But if you need more time and space, that's what protection is. Give yourself more time and space. Tell the person you need more time. Tell the organization you need more time because you're not ready to go there. But if you're not ready because you feel anxious and you feel uncertain, Sensei says you should likely self-nurture and be self-compassionate because really what you need is a friend, you, in the transition. And like I said, even I don't like being at the train station in transition. All right, so let's talk about how we can determine where we truly belong on Earth. What are the conscious steps for that, Sensei? Well, go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the steps to belonging. And belonging is what I call step 4, or Aquarius energy. That's how I summarize it. I did a lot of study in coming up with the step astrology system, understanding like what the spiritual essence of the consciousness was. And I know belonging sounds a little out there, but let me explain what I mean by that. Belonging has to do with law of attraction. So it's been my understanding that the way God allows everyone to have everything they want in life is that you can have what you want, you can live what you want, but there's a time and place for it. So it's like if you want to be a hunter, the time and place for that is out hunting on the prairie, not in the city, right? There's a time and there's a place for it. And that's how God allows for everyone to get their manifestation way. Now, humans are impatient creatures. They do not wait for the right time. They do not wait for the right space because humans operating on a 3D level, kind of a sleep level, don't realize that life is law of attraction. Life is manifestation. You will get what you want. It's a matter of time and space. It's also a matter of understanding where we belong in that time and space. How do you know how the laws of attraction actually work? Well, I believe I have figured it out, and it's with the step astrology system. It is quite simply step 0, step 1, step 2, step 3, guarantee step 4. And that's how all the steps work, by the way. In step astrology, it's based on the concept of consciousness builds on consciousness. Once you complete one step, the next step opens up, and the next step opens up, and so on. I belong is step 4, which means I belong comes after you have consciously completed step 0, step 1, step 2, and step 3. Well, what are those steps? Good question. Step 0 is time and space, okay? Which I also call protection, putting a fence around it, time and space fence around it. If you don't take time and space for the issue you are comprehending, then you may not know where you belong. If you don't take the time and space to figure it out, you may not know. That may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people live in their mind and jump over the time and space. They think about it on the way to work. They think about it, on the way back from work. They think about it in the gym. But you didn't take time and space to just think about and process where you belong. You stole time and space from other things, okay? And there's something about sacredness that leads to faster manifestation. So you got to take time and space. Number 2, I love. Step 1. Your heart must know what you love to know where you belong. Because the way God works with law of attraction is by love. So if you love chocolate, you belong near chocolate lovers and you belong near chocolate, okay? If you love classical music, you belong at the opera and you belong around classical musicians. All right? So it's based on what we love. Now, a lot of people don't know what they love. They go running out into the world shopping. Okay? Ooh, I want to love this one. No clue what their heart loves. No clue of what their heart is really looking for. Having spent no time and space with their heart to know. So as a result, these people who don't know their heart quite often end up in the wrong place. You don't belong here. You don't belong here, little Miss Goldilocks, okay? You're with 3 bears. You're not supposed to be with 3 bears. So that's because we don't know where our heart is. Now, step 2 is I feel. I feel is very important, and this is something that people ignore as well. It's like, oh, your heart loves it, but when you got there, you didn't pay attention to the fact that you feel like crap. Or you don't pay attention to the fact that every time you're with that person, you feel badly. So you can't belong somewhere and law of attract if your emotions aren't on board. All right? The other thing is sometimes emotions aren't on board, not because of the issue, but because you haven't slept for a week, you haven't eaten correctly, you've been treating yourself like shit. So you can't get your emotions behind where you belong in your career. You can't get your emotions behind, the type of person you want to fall in love with because you haven't slept well. Not because you're a poor manifester or don't know where you belong. In fact, emotion is so powerful. I'm going to do another segment on emotion, the power of emotion, but it's more powerful than thought. It's more powerful than even intuition. It is the most powerful state of awareness we have, and it's emotion that actually causes abundance. So if you feel like you belong being a superstar, okay, or you believe you belong being a superstar, but you spend no time at all feeling that really truth, you're just thinking it, you won't be a superstar. You'll just be maybe a little star in a small pond. The super part is how much you feel. You feel it, and those emotional molecules go out, and they bounce off of other people who feel it, that bounces off of other people who feel it, that bounces off of other people. So emotion is what drives abundance, and emotion is what determines the size of your manifestation. A little bit of emotion, little manifestation. A lot of passion, huge manifestations that come from that. So you have to take the time and space, you have to love it, you have to feel it, and then step 3, you must believe. You must believe, first of all, that you do love it and that you do feel it. Okay, you can't be like, I think I do. You have to believe. Believing means everything behind me can go behind this. I have full resolution. Belief means nothing in me is saying no. Everything is saying yes. So sometimes belief is having no anti-belief in the consciousness, right? So you got to believe this is true, which means you're willing to Sagittarius, that's what belief is, step 3, Jupiter, willing to Sagittarius, put everything behind that arrow and aim for what you want. When you protect the time and space, you love it, you feel it, and you believe in it, then you will know where you belong because it points directly to where you belong. And if you don't know where you belong, you will law of attract where you belong. You'll law of attract that person in. You'll law of attract that business in. The vibrating steps of 0, 1, 2, and 3 bring in the 4 of where you belong. Now, Chris, why are you telling us this week? Well, because we are about to do a dimensional shift. We're about to move into where we belong on Earth. And this is the first step to the age of Aquarius, in my opinion. We've been on the story we were born to live since Sagittarius in November. We clearly got new president in, clearly got new power. Everyone belongs in different places than they did before. This particular transit that begins on Friday is one of the most powerful I belongs we've ever had. It's one of the most destined. And before you commit to saying, I belong there, Sensei wants you to know, I hope you love it, feel it, and believe in it, and I hope you took time and space for the whole thing, because if not, you may not belong there. All right, my friends. Well, that concludes our tea time for the week. I do want to put out that if you want to learn more about this month in January, I have the audio megascopes available on my personal site at seriousjoy.tv. You can download an MP3 for your sun sign and for your rising sign, and you'll get a lot of clarity and more focus and more specific facts on where your story is and where you belong in this big transition. So check it out at seriousjoy.tv. If you are a member of my Serious Joy Personal Sensei service, you get all 12 of these for free every month. A huge value added to our services. So go either way. You might want to sign up because I'll be with you every day. Now, if you want to follow me on Twitter, follow me on the handle of C. Wateki. Happy to be of soul service there. And if you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. Sensei thanks you ahead of time. And of course, if you want to find out more about me or find out more about what we're doing this year, come on down to seriousjoy.tv, one of the most loving places on the internet. All right, my friend, Bella and I both thank you for joining us today. I will see you next week on Namaste Today Weekly. Until then, remember, I love you and live, love, be.
TV.
Bella. Hello.